And we are back. Tag's back in action. He's here after a busy week last week. Bish is here as always. Let's have a good show, lads. It's week 4, another interesting week. Couple of injuries, a couple of bad performances, and some really, really good and surprising ones. But first off, how are you, Tag? Nice to have you back.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Fantasy land hasn't been great for me this year so far. So hoping I can get a win on the board in the punt league sooner rather than later. And interested and ready to chew the fat on another good week.
I like it. Bish, how are you?
Yeah, I'm not great rugby league wise. Obviously, season over for us now. So I missed the first action of the sort of first quarter of the 6 o'clock games, but now it's fully fantasy and NFL for the foreseeable. So, like you said, looking forward to getting stuck in and hopefully improving my teams.
I like it. Yeah, like I said, interesting week. We saw Washington really cement themselves as a top, as a maybe a potential top team. Overreaction Monday is on the way, so hopefully there's a take or two on Washington, maybe from myself. And yeah, we'll get on that note. We'll get straight into it, lads. Overreaction Monday. I'll start us off. It's not on Washington, actually. It's going to be the same line I've been going with for the last couple of weeks. I'm just going to push it another level. I've just put a £10 bet on Minnesota Vikings to make the Super Bowl. That's my Overreaction Monday. Watched them closely, obviously against the Packers. Didn't like that second half. It went a bit quiet, but I thought they thought they put the game to bed. They just it looked too good. Aaron Jones is still as good as he was at Green Bay, and then wide receiver courts with Addison back. It's scary. It's scary. The defense got carved up a bit in the end, but I think like I said, the burners were put off, and yeah, another fairly comfortable up until that final few minutes win. And I can't see them losing many games this year, lads.
It's a big call, but yeah, I'd have to agree. At the minute, they do look like the number one team in the NFC. Obviously, the record says that they are, but I think it's both sides of the ball. Obviously, Kevin O'Connell, we saw what he did with Kirk Cousins. He seems to get wide receivers open. Obviously, helps when you've got the best wide receiver in the game on your team as well. But it's the defense for me. Brian Flores is just scheming up things. We saw 3 interceptions from Jordan Love as well. So they're looking hot at the minute. You know, Sam Darnold there. You hear some people saying Sam Darnold will revert back to the Sam Darnold that we know, but I'm excited and they're fun to watch at the minute.
Yeah, I like it. I just think with them, they aren't like a 49ers where they can get a few injuries, some of the bigger players, and still compete at the top. I think with the Vikings, really like them, but I just think they're maybe 1 or 2 injuries away from it'd really derail them. I think if Justin Jefferson went down or Aaron Jones went down, one of them key attacking players, that's when they'll be really tested. At the minute, obviously, it's going their way. Addison's back as well, but no, I can see where you're coming from, Joe. But there's a long year ahead yet.
It is, and for fantasy lads, I'm picking up if you've got Jordan Addison. I'm not seeing where he's on. I'll trade for him. I'm happily taking him on my team. I loved him last year, and I think I'll be chucking a few trades Addison's owners away. Like you said, anyone on that Vikings side, I'm going to be trading heavily for this week. You'll see a couple bouncing around, I think.
It's interesting because I think there was the big trade you picked up likely, didn't you, week 2 and dropped TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, he's on the IR at the minute, but he could be a big piece for that Vikings. You might have to trade back for him.
Yeah, not my smartest move with how likely he's been ever since. I thought I'd make a big splash early in the year, and it's not gone my way. And like you said, Hawkinson now. I needed a tight end with value straight away, sadly, but obviously likely we're still wrong on that call. But yeah, well, I might be. You're right.
I might have one for you, Joe. I might have a tight end for you, son.
I've got 2 great ones.
I'll have a look, lads. I'll have a look. Bish, who's your overreaction?
My overreaction, and to be fair, yeah, it's pretty mild, Joe. You'll probably give me a dig at this one, but I think it's the Chiefs complete the 3-peat with a perfect season. I just can't see them getting beat, you know. And on offense now, Rashee Rice is a big blow that we'll probably talk about later. They've got a few pieces that are, injured. They just seem to pull next man up. Juju Smith-Schuster, now Kareem Hunt. It's just like they just seem to be ticking. All of a sudden, Kelsey's involved again. It's just Patrick Mahomes seems to find a way. The defense is very good. And they went down against the Chargers, but no panic. 10-0 down, no panic. They come back and win the game. So it's Patrick Mahomes, the baby goat. I just can't see him getting beat.
That's biggest take I've ever heard, Bish. You've got me wrong there. I think that's massive. I've actually got them, which is again probably an overreaction. I've got them on my not fraudsters list, but I think there's a couple of losses coming the Chiefs' way. I think there's a couple of losses coming the Chiefs' way. I'm not convinced. I don't think the defense quite as good as last year. The rushing game, they can't be relied upon as much. Obviously, Kareem Hunt did well, but I think with Rice out, they're in. I think panic station's coming up, Bish. I'm ringing the bell. I'm honestly ringing the bell.
I'm more on Bish's side. I don't think they'll go unbeaten. I think it's obviously tough to do. I can see him actually probably losing a game like to Denver, a division battle where the defense wins the game, a bit like Denver did with Jets last night. But if I put my money anywhere on who's winning it again, it's the three-peat. They've said how much they want to do it. No one's done it before. They found a way to win. Mahomes at another level to everybody in the league by a country mile. No one's in his universe. And yeah, I think they'll probably get beat, but I don't think it's an overreaction, Bish, to say that they're going to do the three-peat. Again, shown last night on the run after the Rice went down. Pacheco when he's back. Loving the Chiefs.
Like it, Tag. Your two massive comments.
Man is probably the most obvious out of the three, I'd say, but you might have someone to go against it. But I'm saying bookies payout, it's done. Jalen Daniels is already the offensive rookie of the year. Done. He's already won it. No one's getting close to him.
I've got to call you out, Tag. Wasn't your Overreaction Monday on the last show Bo Nix getting offensive rookie of the year?
Was it?
Yeah.
The issue is that in a half of football, he threw for -5, first time a minus in 1994. So I've changed it. So I've got to overreact to my overreaction.
No, I think that is it.
With my Broncos cap off, Jaden Daniels is the best rookie by an absolute country mile. Don't get me wrong, he's in a good team there, good offensive line, but what he's showing, unbelievable. I know we're only 3-4 weeks in, but I think just giving it now, payout now is just in a league of his own.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, Bish.
I agree massively. Yeah, through 4 weeks, he's breaking records left, right, and centre. Even CJ Stroud last year started 0-2, and he come on. But yeah, Jaden Daniels, outstanding. Yeah, really good offense, and it's Cliff Kingsbury. It's sort of he got some snide comments saying it's a college offense, but whatever offense it is, it's working like a treat now. He's even finding his wide receivers, Terry McLaurin down the field. Spreading the ball about. So yeah, look forward to see what comes in the rest of the year.
The biggest, funniest thing I saw is obviously the off-season hard knocks where the Giants' GM's son's in that room. Saying, do whatever you can, go up and get Jaden Daniels, Dad. Just trust me. He's got everything. Go and get him. And if the Giants GM would have just listened to his son, how the Giants would be a bit different now with him winning the show rather than Daniel Jones and saving a lot of money.
I enjoyed that clip. The daughters wanted JJ McCarthy, but the son wanted Jaden Daniels.
I've not seen that. I've missed that one. I need to watch that. That sounds brilliant.
Literally, he's in his office, Joe, and it's just like they're talking about the draft, do you do? And obviously the Giants GM just doing it with his kids for a bit of fun. And his son sat there just saying, on the phone, and Ibish just saying, listen, Dad, just do whatever you can. Take Daniels. He's different gravy, Dad. Just take him. Trust me.
Brilliant. All right, lads. Well, on a more negative note, we've got injury. We've got the injuries coming up. I'll get us going again. Just a quick one because I don't think it's too bad news. But I think the season has been for the fantasy owner of this player. It's Anthony Richardson. I think a really, really strange one on the game. Got injured, hurt his ribs on a tackle. He steps out, gets a bit of work on, comes back in. The first play they run was a running play, and he goes and gets injured again from the Richardson run. It was one of the I think Twitter went mental. One of the most bizarre play calls I've ever seen after a player's hurt his ribs. I don't know why you'd run a Richardson option after him already being hurt, and I think he's week to week. Might miss next week, but all reports himself said I'll be back pretty soon. So not a big one, but lads, I think are you tilting away from Richardson? If you're an owner, I've got him in one of my leagues. Is it you, Tag, or is it Bish that's got him?
I've not got him.
I really talked to Richardson at the beginning of the year, didn't I? And we said about his injury is the issue. If not, he's a definite top 10 QB. I still believe that, but yeah, the play call was just bizarre for me. You could see his frustration coming off. They need him to be all right for the year because Flacco, his age and the way he is, don't get me wrong, he's coming at the Browns late last year and did a job, but if you're running with him the rest of the year where teams can start working him out and get hands on him at his age and the way he is, it'll be a tough year for the Colts. So, but on Richardson, I do like him. It's just his injuries, we know.
Question for you lads then. If Flacco's in, do you go pick up a Colts wide receiver? We saw Josh Downs do very well with Flacco in. We've seen Pittman get a bit more action. We've seen Pittman, to be fair, have a bit of action with Richardson in as well. But do you start looking at them wide receivers who you can probably buy very, very low? Probably waiver wire, Josh Downs. Would you pick them up and have him on your team if Joe Flacco's here for the next 2 weeks?
Personally, I would, yeah, definitely. I think it's a massive bonus for the Michael Pittman Jr. owner. We're just going to see a bit more. And you get your splash plays with Richardson, but I think you get that consistency with Flacco. He's going to get more targets, more receptions. The problem is you don't know how long it's for. You know, it doesn't sound a serious injury. It might be a 1 week thing. He might be straight back in next week. So it might be a risk picking up a Josh Downs or another wide receiver there. But you know, it's the buys are starting this week. So if you need a flex play, you know, look at the injury report. If Richardson misses out, then yeah, I'd go get one.
Like it. Who's next, lads? Who wants to go next?
Bish can go if he wants.
Yeah, I'll go then. I'm coming in with Christian Watson here, the Packers wide receiver. Rolled his ankle. They're talking of a high ankle sprain, which we know is a bit longer than just a little roll. So that potentially could be at least a couple of weeks. And again, if you're the owners, we saw Jordan Love come back and straight away he was spraying the ball around. We had Jaden Reed go off, Dontavian Wicks go off as well. So one less mouth to feed in that Packers wide receiver room. So if you're the other owners, they probably go up a level. And I think you definitely need to be starting Jaden Reed, and maybe Dontavian Wicks now becomes a starter.
Yeah, I love it, especially with Love back, the way he's going to throw the ball. We saw it late on. They probably rushed Love back. We spoke about it last night. He wasn't moving great, was he? But it's a massive option to look at them other Green Bay wide receivers. Fully agree, especially with Love back and the way he can throw the ball.
Because that's obviously the obvious issue with Green Bay, isn't it? You don't know which one Reed's been early on, been probably the main man, but Wicks had a ginormous night last night. So yeah, it's normally a tough pick, but like I said, one left mouth to feed. I'd go after all of them. There might be some in lower leagues, in smaller leagues. Sorry, there might be some still on your waiver wire. So go pick them up for a couple of weeks, and you're probably guaranteed at least 60, 70 yards and quite a few fantasy points.
Into me. I'm going with Rice, Rashee Rice at the Chiefs. I think it's probably the worst injury of the weekend. All reports going that it looks like it's going to probably be an ACL. If so, season done, get carted off, couldn't put weight down. All from friendly fire. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, and while he's covering, tackling, and they're all scrambling, he flies into Rice and injures ACL. I think with Rice, it's a bit of a tough one for fantasy owners because obviously in the off-season he had the crash, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, and people are saying, will he be the same player? He's got that going on, and it looks like that case is getting pushed to the end of the year. So people took a risk. They took him. He's been exceptional the first few weeks. You've done well taking him, and now it's spun on its head, and it looks like his probably season's going to be done, which will probably get confirmed over the next day or two. So it's a tough one for Rice owners. And again, the knock-on effect. I mean, I'm sat on Xavier Worthy. It's good for me. You saw a long pass to him, and he's going to probably get his hand on the ball a bit more. I'm sat on Travis Kelce in another league. Again, you're going to see him get the ball a bit more. There's a lot of mouths to feed, but I think Rice was the obviously wide receiver one by far for Mahomes. I don't know what you boys think, but it's definitely going to put a bit more value on them other Chiefs players, I think, regarding trading or scoring.
Yeah, I think definitely, like you said, if you're Worthy, Kelce owner, you're absolutely. Sadly, you're probably very happy with the news. Obviously, best of luck to him and his recovery, but yeah, probably happy with the news. I think my question to you lads is, like Bish mentioned, the Smith-Schusters, the backups to the backups. Do you go pick them up, Bish?
One thing I'm looking at is Hollywood Brown. I'm not sure if he's actually out for the season or if he's able to come back.
I think they've said he won't be back to the playoffs. I think
he won't be back to right.
I think they put a line through the regular season with him. Yeah.
Right. So that's no good for fantasy then. So I'm not touching him. Yeah, the Juju's maybe.
I think we see a trade. I think we're going to see a trade coming from the Chiefs. I think there's enough contract player out there, or there's going to be a trade going on. I think Juju's not what he was. Where is that one big play? They need that go-to from Mahomes. And with Rice gone, they haven't got that. Kelce ain't looking the same. I think there's going to be a big trade going with the Chiefs, or a big free agent signing coming. I really do. There's a lot going on, isn't there, at the minute? I mean, they're saying about the Bengals, Teagans and Chase.
Yeah.
They're both sat there, and the Bengals aren't doing great, and one of them needs to go. Do you see something happen there? I mean, if you put Jamar Chase with Patrick Mahomes, there's going to be some Jamar Chase fans dancing around out
there. I think it's, I don't think it'll be a high profile player like that because of the way Andy Reid is. I think it could, and money, but I do agree with you. I think a trade could be possible there, and they're probably bringing a guy, and the way Andy Reid schemes players up, and they're probably bringing someone there to complement, like you said, sort of fill that void of Rice and a similar skill set.
Is Nicole Hardman still there?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just a guy who knows the system. They traded and brought him back during the year last year, didn't they, from the Jets? He won't get much game time at the Jets, and he actually scored the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Just wondering if Hardman's still available, still at another team. Do they get someone who knows the system and they bring someone like that straight back into it? Like I say, it's going to be interesting to see.
I like it, yeah. Next one, lads. This is the new segment that we're still getting into. It's Panic Station. I'll start us off, lads. Again, sorry for diving in straight away again, but I've got a big name, and it's a man who I've drafted in another league as my first round pick. Are you on the train or not, Brees? Paul?
I'll start and jump on the back of that, mate. And the fact of there's a big few eyebrows raised on my top 10 running backs when he wasn't near the top 5 on my list, I believe.
Yeah.
I just thought with Rodgers back and what he does, he won't see as much ball, and they aren't going to need him nowhere near as much as last year. And obviously, Allen's coming, the other running back. It is Allen, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's looking better at the minute. So if I'm you, Joe, I think you're in too deep, son. I think you've not got any trade value there now, and you're just going to have to ride the storm. Hope for one big week and trade, or sit on him the rest of the year. But don't be offering him to me. Not interested.
No, I'm staying with him. He's had 3 games of over 15 points. This one, I watched quite a lot of this, and his hands were like sewn on backwards. He just didn't look at it for some reason. You know, he had a few goal line attempts and got stuffed as well. Good defense, Denver, but you know, awful weather. I don't know. Maybe we'll put it down to that. But another big test next week against Minnesota. So we'll see what goes on there. But no, I'm sticking with him. I had him high on my rankings. I think he'll do the job.
Yeah, I'm describing it the way I did last week with I can't remember who now, but I'm just stepping onto the platform. I'm definitely worried. I don't know whether I'm on this train yet. Don't know whether the destination is where I want to end up of losing him. But yeah, like you said, Nathaniel Hackett's still there. The coaching staff just doesn't seem to be up to standard. Like you said, with all the options they've got on that team and only scoring 9 points. I know PS2 is outstanding and got Garrett Wilson out of the game essentially. But yeah, I'm really worried for the Jets and definitely on the definitely on the platform, but don't know whether I'm on the full train yet.
I would say as well, with Braylon Allen, I think most other teams he'd be a number one running back there. So yeah, I agree with Tag saying he's going to eat into his workload because he looks very good.
Yeah, I just think if you took Hall, you want 80-90% of the snaps, and you want to be that 100% RB1 who's getting everything for taking him that early in the draft. And I just don't think you're getting that the rest of this year. I'll straight away then get on the panic stations and jump straight off this train if you've got him. I just want to chuck up Mark Andrews. Tight end City is a bit of a mess at the minute in the tight end world, and Mark Andrews, the last 5-6 years, minimum absolute banker, top 3 pick, 0 points again.
Only 1 target, I believe, as well.
Lads, the train's already left. The station.
Jordan Lane's throwing him out the window of the train. He's just put on this morning, I've had enough.
Yeah, just Mark Andrews, obviously the tight end City there, but yeah, if you've took Andrews, you're devastated. We've given him enough time now. So much going on there, but you've just got no value. If you sit on Mark Andrews now with your tight end 1, what's your plan, lads? What are you doing?
You look at Zach Ertz, you look at anyone else you can pick up on that waiver wire, and you put them in. It's your only option at this point. He's to be honest, he's cuttable. I think he's completely cuttable. Likely he's getting more than him anyway, and likely he's not getting much. The running, like I said, the running game's just spectacular at Baltimore. Henry's getting better and better as he does every year. By week 3, week 4, he just kicks onto another gear. And then obviously you've got Lamar running, and then you've got Flowers last week, but this week it's just completely off the station. I think they're using him as a run blocking tight end now, essentially, because I think likely and the other ones aren't as good. They're just getting as many people to open up room for Henry and Lamar. And yeah, I think for fantasy purposes, Andrews is like I said, the train's gone. I don't think you can even see the train anymore. If you didn't get on it, you've got to get on next week's train. Yeah, next week's train.
Yeah, I go on now. I'll throw one up, and probably a player I'm panicking and gone. Again, the train's gone.
Bish, you might echo him.
Is that any better?
Is it working for you, Joe?
Yeah, working, yeah.
It must be me then. Go on, crack on. It must be
you
Mark. Yeah, that's better now. I'm back.
Yeah. The train's left for me. To be fair, he was never on my train anyway. But Rashad White, what are you doing with Rashad White? If you're his owner, again, another running back, probably taken, I wouldn't say first couple of rounds, but I'd say the mid rounds definitely. Who you'd probably want as your big running back scorer. You know, Bucky Irving now seems to be stepping up, eating into his workload, and he's been more efficient for quite a while now. What are your thoughts with White?
Well, with my experience of players like that, what I do if I had White on my fantasy team, I'd sit him on the bench, and I'd just see how the next few weeks unfold. If you're making a trade, and it's very close either way. You could maybe chuck him in with it, knowing that there's a potential there. Like I said, Bucky's a rookie running back. You never know; he might have a few fumbles and get sat down for a bit, or you just never know on injuries. I just think White, you'd be stupid to drop. You haven't got much value there. For me, I think you just need to sort of sit him on your bench and just see how the next few more weeks unfold. And if you can make a trade with him involved in it, just to add a bit more value, then do it.
Yeah, Bish, I'm not fully. I think the train's still on the station. You're definitely getting on, but I think with, like you said, with where you probably drafted him, the situation, I think at this point he is a flex, especially with bye weeks coming up. Bish, in my opinion, I'd keep him on the roster and just play him if there's. I've not looked at the schedule yet, to be honest, but if they have a good couple of matchup in the next couple of weeks, while buys are happening, I'd say I'd keep him around. I think you might have to. The waiver wire this year has been a wasteland, hasn't it? There's not been much. Maybe there's like one player a week that is worth spending fab on. Yeah, I'm keeping him around. I'm definitely looking at the keeping the train analogies going. I'm definitely looking at the train, but I'm not quite I'm not quite getting on it. I think I'm looking left and looking at my other destinations because I've got a bigger name for you, Bish, and the man you traded to me, and probably need some advice on him because I'm definitely on the train at the moment. Ramondre Stevenson, lads. Wait,
2 weeks in a row, Ramondre.
What would you do? Because I'm traded. I chucked it. I obviously got him in the package from you, Bish. Happy with CD, but got Ramondre in, thinking, you know what, it'll be a steady 10 points minimum. You know what I mean? Probably not having them big weeks, but getting the volume, and he's just had 2 absolute duds. I'm panicking. And to be honest, if you actually check my team, if you check my team during the week, I had him on the bench. I thought, no, there's no way I'm playing him, but I kind of got forced into it because I didn't really have another option. Obviously, I had Roshawn Johnson that I could have played, and I probably would have had a safer week going into the final, but not into next week and the final game. But yeah, I'm panicking. He might be on my bench next week, lads.
I think with Stevenson, the issue you've got is, for me, it could have been the Overreaction Monday, but not a big one. But Pats are the worst team in the NFL for me. No doubt, in the fact of offensively, they've just not got anyone. No real wide receivers. Tight ends are still sort of Hunter Henry, just ticking away. I'm not a big fan of Jacoby Brissett. Defensively, they're looking all right. There was good week 1, but they're not looking as good anymore. And it's all on Stevenson. You can't hold the ball at the minute. I just think the Pats are poor, and they're always going to be chasing games. And fantasy-wise, Bish has had your pants down, son.
4 fumbles in a row.
No, that's it for me. And you've touched it there. It's game script. You know, if you look at his 4-game stretch, I've got it up here. Week 1 and week 2, he had 20 plus carries. Week 3, he only had 6 against the Jets, who went 14-0 up very early. And then yesterday against the 49ers, again, he's only had 13 carries just because they were blown out. So he's only going to be relevant in close games. And like Tag said, the options Brissett has got, you know, they're not great. So if the game's out tight, if they go down, you know, he's a non-factor really. But again, it's looking at the fixture list. They've got some okay games coming up, but for me, it's just how they start games. If they keep them tight, it'll be a massive factor. If they go behind early, yeah, he's a non-factor.
I smell a trade coming, Joe. I might have to throw you a bone. I'm gonna throw a dog a bone.
Yeah, that was my thing. I think I'm after. He's got an okay couple of games coming up, so I think I've got to keep him for the next. He's got Miami, Houston, Jacksonville, all been a bit suspect on defense. I think he's got 3. I think I've got 3 weeks left in him, and then I'm hoping I might have to trade why I've got a bit of value. Why I'm still playing. So I think that's the game plan, lads. Hopefully the other lads aren't watching. I might have to give some offers out in a couple of weeks, because otherwise, going into them playoffs, I might be struggling.
Wait for him to go off against the Jags and then sell him just before they play the Jets again.
Lads, well, yeah, we're on to the next one. Bish, you get to go first, as it's your as it's your one. It's Bish's breakouts. Who's your top player of the week, Bish?
There are a few that I like this week, but some that I've sort of touched on before. So I tried to go with someone a bit different and who probably people aren't that keen on. And my star of the week, a weird one in actually a loss, but it's Justin Fields. We actually, in fantasy, if you actually owned him, he had 31, nearly 32 points. So he would have won you the week. They did lose 27-24, but he actually threw for 312 yards with a passing touchdown and then rushed for 2 as well. So I think although it was in a loss, I think that debate whether he's either starter, is Russell the starter when he comes back. I think now he is the starter. I don't think you can drop him after that. Yeah, he will be the starter, and I think as a result of that, he'll improve. And now he's settled in this offense, I think we'll see a bit more of him. They were chasing the game, which meant he had to throw the ball, but yeah, he had some nice connections with George Pickens down the sideline, so he has got the weapons there. Pat Fryermuth as well. So if he can grow, that offensive line can keep him upright. I think he might have a good year for the Steelers, who are a very, as we know, a very competitive team with Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I like it. Fields, looked really good, didn't he? To be fair,
Yeah, and he got unlucky Fields last night. I think for me, he's QB1. A few errors around him, some uncharacteristic mistakes from the Steelers, got him behind quite heavily early on, and they sort of nearly clawed the way back. And he threw a lovely pass to Pickens, and Pickens was carrying it like a bloody bag of sausages in his hands, and he got knocked out. That's what a coach used to say to me: "Tag, stop carrying the ball like a bag of sausages." And that's what Pickens did, and he fumbled on the sideline, and it was in their 10. And that sort of killed all the momentum. But I'm fully with you, Bish. QB1 Fields, an outstanding performance. One of his 2 touchdowns, but the second one, he got his head down and he's leading the way. When the QB does that sort of things, he gets everyone behind him. And it was needed because obviously Najee Harris was a bit of a letdown in other areas for us.
I've got one for you, lads, and I'm bringing him up as well because I think it brings up an interesting fantasy conversation. Is Chuba Hubbard. Obviously, 20 fantasy points, 104 yards, and quite 4 out of 4 receptions. A very good week in a loss. Looks like the top man on Carolina with Deontay. What do you do? Because you've got Jonathan Brooks coming in, highly rated, pass catching and running back thing, high draft capital, loads of excitement around him. He's now slated to be back next week or the week after. Yeah. Well, next week, and then probably gets eased into it. What's your plan with Hubbard? Do you go elsewhere? Do you trade? What do you think's viable for Hubbard owners?
Well, if you want me to lead on it, I'm trading him. He's gone. He's at the highest point he's going to reach. He's been outstanding. He looks quicker than I thought he was at the minute, but they've had the buzz and the energy and impact to Red Rifle, and we know what Red Rifle's like. We've seen over the last 15 years in the NFL. He will start making more mistakes, and he's very up and down, inconsistent. I don't think he's going to change at his age now. You've got the rookie running back coming in who's going to be cheap for him, won't need paying for a few years. They're going to see what he's got. I think if you Chuba Hubbard owners, you're very, very happy with what he's done the last few weeks. But for me now, he's at a very high ceiling. You aren't going to get much more. And for me, he's only naturally going to go down from here. It might be quite harsh that. I could be completely wrong. But if I own Hubbard in leagues, I'm trading.
Well, let's say I'm a Chubbard owner. What would you accept to trade for? What viably would you want in Chubbard? Because obviously, unless you're trading to someone who's not very knowledgeable in fantasy football, what would you get out of him? Would you take a Najee Harris? Would you take a thing? Where would you go? What would you look at as a Chubbard owner to go pick up for Chubbard?
I think it's where you're short. I think you've got Hubbard in your team. I think you've probably already got 2 good running backs as well. I don't think he probably necessarily went in your first or second RB choices. So if you're short of a good wide receiver 2, we keep bringing up this tight end chat, and you sat there with Hubbard and Mark Andrews in your team, then you might be able to go and get yourself a good tight end for him. If someone's got a backup, there's a few out there, but I just think it depends where you're short, but you have got you've got a room for a decent player by getting rid of him. If he is your RB1, and obviously you need a bit of running back cover with part of that trade. I mean, you could maybe do, well, we've talked about Ramondre Stevenson. You could maybe get Stevenson and another average wide receiver or tight end to change for Hubbard. You might get a 2-for-1 package deal with Stevenson a part of it. Bish might have other opinions.
Yeah, I'm debating it there. I think if you can, I'm gonna just for the sake of it, I'm gonna be different to Taggy. I'm gonna say I'm sticking with him. And if I'm a team that needs wins, if I'm 1-3, if I'm 0-4, I'm going to get him, because I think Jordan Brooks is going to come in, but he's off an ACL. It's his first year in the league. He's going to be used sparingly. You know, I'm not sure what he's like in pass protection, but obviously, if you're coming in, that running back, you're a massive importance in protecting the quarterback as well. And Chuba Hubbard's hot at the minute. I'm just looking at the schedule. You know, it's not a bad schedule. Even after the bye, week 11, if you can afford to keep him, weeks 15 to 17, you know, in the playoffs, he's got a very good run. So, I thought about trading him, like Tag said, but I think I'm going to stick with him. Or if I'm desperate for wins right now, I'm going to go get him, I think. And if I've got an owner like Tag who's maybe thinking, right, I need to sell him now, I think if you've got an owner in your league, go ask the question, because if you sat on Tag's team and Tag's thinking I need to get rid of him, and I'm thinking I need a spark, then I think he could be the spark that you need, because he's got 20 points in the last 2 games. He's coming up against some decent defenses where he can score points.
Question here for you both quickly. You've already got 2 good running backs in your team. You managed to steal Hubbard as your running back free. Your other 2 running backs are pretty solid, and you get offered CMC for Hubbard right now.
I'm taking it.
You're taking CMC?
I'm taking CMC. I've just seen a report that they're ramping him up now. He's been to Germany. He's coming back. They're starting to ramp him up. It's a gamble because you don't know how he's going to react, but down
the line, it wins the league potentially.
That's it. And if, like you said, you've already got the caliber of players in your starting, and I'm presuming you've got some wins on the board. So I think it's a risk you can take. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've got 2 top running backs on your team, I think that's a easy one. I think the challenge is if you've got one and he's been your RB2, and then you're thinking, well, can I survive? Can I make it deep into the playoffs with a CMC when it's slated to come back still in a couple of months' time? I don't know. That would be the tough one. But I think if you've got 2 steady running backs already in there, I think you'll happily take that risk.
Right, me to finish, lads. Is it on the breakouts? And it's an obvious one, but I think you've just got to salute the king. When there's a king in the league, you've got to salute him. You've got to give him credit. He dropped down further in drafts than what he should have done this year. He's normally a top 10 absolute nailed-in pick. I don't think he went in many that early. Derrick Henry, 34 points. Unbelievable already this year. In a better team, not as much workload. Anyone who watched the game last night, I watched the extended highlights this morning, you'll see that he actually fumbled the ball as well over the goal line to cost him 3 touchdowns. So he'll have the minus for the fumble. He would have been over 40 points if he just held on to that ball. I know they still got the touchdown. Ricard dived on a loose ball and got himself a touchdown. Ricard owners out there. Can't believe. I don't think there'd be anyone in the league who owns him in any league, but you never know. On these very long dynasty leagues where you start about 30 players maybe. But Derrick Henry, lads, just want to say, if you've got him, for me, you've just got to keep him in all year, haven't you? Especially in that team now. Like, there's no way you could let him go.
No chance.
But top 3, top 4 RB fantasy wise all along. You're looking at B. John, you're looking at Brees Halls, all them top 5 running backs. I don't think, obviously, CMC injured. He's the only bell cow left. I think that's true. That's got true value at top level. Have I missed?
I think there's only for me, it's between him and Barkley. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. And the thing is with Derrick Henry, obviously, touch wood, I don't want him to get injured because we need him in the league. It's great viewing, but I don't recall him getting many bad injuries or sort of Barkley's obviously had the problems with his knee and stuff, and CMC's got his problems now, but he's done it durably for a lot of years, and he don't miss many games. I think he's been an absolute fantasy banker the last few years, and he just keeps doing it. And he's even more successful now. He's in a team where he doesn't have to do everything. They've got that many options that he just tags in when needed and does his thing.
That's the key for me. It's the quality touches now rather than just the quantity of it. It's so many holes there.
Yeah, he got his injuries at the start of the season, in the start of his career, didn't he? In the first 2 seasons or so, they were obviously coming out of college, and he couldn't quite get it going. And then once he, like you said, once he hit his form, he's never looked back on it. He's been, they're calling him and Saquon. I saw last night two of the last Hall of Fame running backs left, aren't they? They're saying there's them two are nailed on, and then I don't think there's many left. They're saying in the short term, there's not many bell cows like them, even in the league. And looking forward with the way offenses are going, so you might be seeing the last of a generation with these two. So yeah, enjoy this season. The next one, lads, the waiver wire pickups, the punt projects.
Want me to start?
You go first, Tag, because I don't have many.
Well, I'm going to give it away now. I'm going for him myself this week in our league. There's going to be no hiddens. If you want to bid, come and fight me for him. He's available. We've just spoke about this team, and it's Justice Hill from the Ravens. Points so far over 4 weeks: 8, 4, 6, and 18 last night. The Ravens, we've seen their offense. Justice Hill's doing all the catching out the backfield. King Derrick didn't need as much. He looks quick, Hill. He's definitely getting 50-50 of the reps. The Ravens, obviously, bit of an up and down start, but we see that with Lamar. He does sort of grow into his seasons, and he takes the Ravens with him. I think if you're desperate for that running back free, that flex player, I think Justice Hill, that fact that he's still available in a lot of leagues and ours, I'm going to try and get him this week. Don't know what your thoughts are, lads, but I think he's going to be that player who's going to sort of guarantee you that 10 points every week.
Go on, Bish.
Yeah, he was down on my list there. Like you said, he's carving out a bit of a role for himself there. 6 receptions, 78 yards and a touchdown. And like you said, there's not that many. Lamar did, he looked good passing the ball, but there weren't, again, there's not that one standout wide receiver. So, him out of the backfield, it's an easy pass. He's making good yards. So, yeah, I think it's a good pickup, like you said. Only owned in 28% of sleeper leagues.
I like it. Yeah, Bish, you go next.
We touched on him, but I have him down, so I'll take him. It's Josh Downs, 29% owned, and like I said, Flacco's coming in. Flacco spreads the ball about. We know what he's about. Josh Downs had equal targets as Michael Pittman, and actually had more receptions, 8 receptions, 82 yards and a touchdown. So again, you need to check on Richardson, but if he does sit, Joe Flacco comes in. They've got the Jags, I believe. No, they haven't. That's the Steelers. That's another one I'm looking at. But anyway, if Flacco does play, I think Josh Downs is a start for you.
Like it.
Yeah, agree. As we mentioned earlier, definitely agree. I'm struggling, lads. I don't think, like you said, other than...
I've got another one. Do you want me to throw another one in for you?
Yeah, you go.
I think he's available in our league. He's available in a lot of leagues. If you need a wide receiver 2 or a flex, Darnell Mooney, I'm going to chuck out there for the Falcons. Really like him. I think I watched a lot of the game last night, and for me, Cousins is looking for him first. Sort of everyone. Some of them longer plays. He's coming up trumps on some of the catches. Scored obviously poor week 1, but the last 3 weeks, he scored 33 points. So averaging 11 a week, 16, 10, 7. He actually got targeted on a few of the long ones, what he just didn't get his hands to, or just a bit out of his way. But Cousins is going to start firing. He's in a new offense. I think Falcons are doing it quite tough. They scraped to win last night. They'll get confidence off that. There's a few mouths to feed there, but that'll always sort of leave Mooney one-on-one when you've got obviously Pitts, Drake London, Bijan, Algier. I just think I like what I saw Mooney last night, and I just think he's available in a lot of leagues. If you need a wide receiver who's going to get a sort of one of them long play touchdowns now and again, and then big splash plays we talk about, just feeling a bit of Mooney, I am.
Like it. I think I do have one for you lads. It's a risky one. You might disagree, but he's been fairly consistent with the points this year. It's Wan'Dale Robinson at the Giants. He's had a pretty safe. He's got 8 points, 8.8 points, 8.8 points, 9.6, and then got 12.6 without a touchdown last night. I think looking at his schedule, other than Seahawks, which is next week, it's a fairly steady schedule. I don't think there's any massive defenses there other than Seahawks that will really lock him down one-on-one. He's the number 2 option on a Giants offense that is finding its feet very, very slowly. It's having it, and I think there's just worse options. With the amount of injuries there are this year, if you need a flex, he's not let anyone down so far this year.
Yeah, I like it. I've played him for a couple of weeks in a league, and a little tactic I like: a wide receiver 2 against a top wide receiver 1. Obviously, Malik Neighbours is the man. He'll always get the opposition's best corner, and then your guy will get the second best corner. So, if they're serviceable and you've got a good quarterback, you might get some good points there. So yeah, I like that pick. And I'll throw another one out there: Tank Bigsby. The running back for the Jags, only owned in 19% of leagues, but he had a big game this week. Travis Etienne actually left the game. He's had a shoulder injury. He left the game and then he came back into the game, but he wasn't very efficient. 11 carries for 50 yards. And Tank Bigsby, the last couple of weeks, he's just looked more electric. He's looked more explosive than Etienne. He had a massive run for 58 yards and finished the day on 90 yards off 7 carries. So if you are an Etienne owner, it might be worth picking up Bigsby just as a backup, or if you're not related to this backfield, pick up Bigsby because, if that injury carries on, there might be a chance there that Bigsby gets more and more involved.
Like it, yeah. They call them handcuff running backs, don't they? They've got the cuffs on. They're behind. They're a good player, but they're behind the top running back. Let the handcuffs off, and he'll go and explode, won't he? So yeah, I think especially if you're an ETN owner, go get him in because then you've got fairly similar talent, fairly similar coverage as your backup there, Bish. Yeah, I like that. I like that play. Bish, I'll let you lead the way. It's the final. It's the final one of the week. It's the fun one. The punters, the best kicker of the week. Have you got a good storyline to tell us?
Best kicker, I think he's one of those kickers that everyone knows. I think we've all got the same kicker this week. It's got to be Koo for the Falcons. Again, and he's just got a massive. We talk about Brandon Avery. Got a massive leg. This guy's got a massive leg, and his clutch as well. He's so many game winners. Another game winner this week. 4 field goals, 2 over 50 plus yards, and a game winner with a clock expiring, 58 yards to win the game. So, yeah, he's a great asset we've seen kickers this year have been great assets, and he's won plenty of games for the Falcons.
Like it, yeah, and I think a big shout out to Greg Joseph of the Giants, got 19 points, and I think with the way the Giants' offense is, they're struggling for touchdowns. Other than Neighbours, they don't really have that guy that can be Mr. Consistent in the red zone. So I think they'll have a lot of field goals this year. It's probably a way to probably a safe player to have in your lineup.
I'm with you, Bish. Cool was written down for me. I think he stole the thunder.
You did well, lads. Appreciate this week. As always, please like, subscribe, give your comments. We've talked about a lot there, a lot of different views, a lot of controversial ones. Let us know what you think about the Chiefs. They nailed on for the 3-peat, so you're on me where you're not fully convinced, which is, I feel controversial even saying it. But yeah, go at it, lads. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Yeah.